Welcome to SkySQL. When you first sign in, you'll see a brief description of the three types of databases you can deploy. The first is optimized for transactions with raw data stored on fast SSDs. The second is for analytics with data stored in a columnar format on object storage. And the third is a hybrid with data stored both in a row format on SSDs as well as in a columnar format on object storage. In my case, I've already created two databases. So when I sign in, the first thing I see is a dashboard of my running databases. I've created two databases previously. The first is a hybrid database, and the second is a traditional replicated database for transactions. Before we dive into those, we will quickly launch a standalone database for transactions. I'll keep it in the US West 1 region, though there are regions available in Europe and Asia. I will use the Sky 4x15 for vCPU and 15 gigabytes of memory, 45 cents an hour. But I will bump up the storage to 1 terabyte and I'll give it a quick name. It typically takes a few minutes before a new database is up and running and available, so we'll come back to this one. In the meantime, we will look at our replicated database. Similar to the dashboard, you can see what the topology is: primary replica, region, size, storage. But in addition, we see the two ports, a read-write port and a read-only port, and the number of replicas. The read-write port handles read-write splitting. It will route all writes to the primary database instance, and it will load balance all reads across the replicas. You also see the fully qualified domain name. This is the host name that you will use with the ports above to connect to your database. In addition, we see that it has a custom configuration, and below that, you'll see whitelist IP address. By default, when you create a database, it isn't accessible to anyone. You have to specify IP addresses or ranges of clients and application servers you want to grant access to. You would click on the edit button, enter your IP address or range and add it, and then it would be immediately available to that machine. Well, let's touch on the custom configuration. Every database is deployed with a standard SkySQL default configuration. If you need to override any of those system variables, you can do so by creating a custom configuration. In this case, we can see that I'm running on version 4 of my personal custom replicated configuration. I can click on View Details, and I can see some of the system variables as well as some of the overrides. And if I need to make changes, I can click on Update Custom Configuration, and I could select a different one. So I also have in here a secure and fast custom configuration. So I can apply that. And we will see that now it's the secure and fast v6. On that note, we'll go to the configuration manager. We can see at the bottom the two SkySQL default configurations I mentioned, as well as a handful of custom ones that I have created. If we click on secure and fast, you would have seen previously that it has on version 6.0. But we can go back and see what were the values on previous versions. We can also here edit it. So I might want to change some of these values and save. And we'll see that it's now on 7.0. We'll go back to our services. We'll see that it says secure and fast v6, and then there's a little note below it that there's a newer version of this configuration available. So I can click on this Update Custom Configuration, choose secure and fast, hit apply, and we'll see that it is now on version 7, which is the latest version of that configuration.